time on it. It's gonna change one way or another. So even if it's hot right now, so I'm warming it to you, put time on it. Give it 3 more months. If you're in the same place for another meeting, you might not be hot. You may be saying turn the heat up. Okay, so time is a very, very critical thing. And again, I don't want to waste it at one time before we're going to proceed ahead with the agenda. I'm going to turn this over now to Ms. Williams, who's going to be the facilitator for today's meeting. I always wanted to do
Good morning. Good morning. I know that it is hot in here, but it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
I am Jane Williams, and I am your moderator for today. I think Dr. King has somewhat done an opening, which usually very often our Ag Farm Division Director usually we go. So it's not here. And Doctor, you want to say something?
I want to make this short. Lofton, he is absent because of illness today, and he is our program division director for Ag and Community Economic Development. He's also the vice president for Arkansas Land Farm Development Corporation. But this is one quick snapshot. One, I'm very familiar with cotton plant. Previous mayors and Mayor Brown, now. And cotton plant day, as well. The other thing is that our site is not far from here in Fargo. That's where we're located. That site was founded back in 1919 by a gentleman called Floyd Brown. A little part of history, and you all, some of you may have heard the story, or may have seen some aspects of the story itself at the Fargo Agricultural School Museum. But that was a gentleman named Lawrence Davis Sr. And Lawrence Davis Sr., cotton was a thriving town in the city back years ago. Think about 1919 and going on back. If I'm not mistaken, I think at one time, cotton plant was like the county seat for Woodruff County.
That's correct.
No, am I right? Right, it was a county seat for Woodruff County. It was a thriving town and city, noted for its, cotton production, the gins, and a lot of other things that were going on. But this gentleman named Lawrence Davis, he was shining shoes. He was shining shoes and doing certain work in the cotton plant area. And a guy named Floyd Brown, he had contact with Floyd Brown. And Floyd Brown, in their coming in contact and communicating with each other, he saw him as an individual that had a lot of potential as to what he could become and telling him things he needed to do. And that was wanting to get more information, get an education. And he listened to Floyd Brown. Floyd Brown, the founder of the Fargo Agricultural Training School in Fargo, Arkansas in 1919. So he listened to Floyd Brown, pursued an education as Floyd Brown had done, finishing at Tuskegee. Tuskegee is where he finished school at, and he was a student of Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Floyd Brown was. But Lawrence Davis went on to do that. Y'all lost the shoe shine boy in cotton plant, got an education, but he went on to become the chancellor and the president of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, known then as M&N College. Am I right in this law?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. He went on to become that. So that's some of the history connection between Fargo, which is where our office site is, Floyd Brown, and the cotton plant area. His son later, Lawrence Davis Jr., also became the chancellor and the president that was A&M College then, Dr. Davis Senior. Now then, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, his son became the champion and president of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff as a part of the university system. So I just want y'all to know that, and all these contributions that Cotton Plant has made in dealing with humanity and our society as a whole. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. King. Next, we're gonna have a welcome by, Mayor Clara Harston Brown. Cotton Plant here. Let's get right in and she comes.
Hello, I would like to welcome everyone here, the one I know, the one I don't know. I didn't know it, but I think this was kind It's always been in the school, and I've been there. Everybody was looking for this one. I'm glad you all are here. And I hope you learn some inside information on the thing that you are looking for. I've been doing Mr. King here since I've been in the office, and he's gonna help me quite a bit. Y'all listen to the end of all the direction. Right? It's going to sit out. Welcome, you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Right. Thank you, Mayor Brown. I know you all feel welcome now. So we're going to, everybody has asked a question, what are we here for? What are we gonna hear? And I'll tell you, you are in for waiting of a basket of knowledge that you will hear from our own Dr. King, our CEO of Arkansas Manhattan Community Development Corporation. Dr. King, you're.
All right, again, let me express my appreciation also to the mayor for giving us this opportunity and for hosting this meeting here. You know, this has given me some insight, possibly something that we need to do. And if our board of directors go along with it, and I have one board member that's here, and we will feature it in our newsletter. We have a newsletter that comes out on a quarterly basis on a news bulletin. And you'll find in that newsletter, information about some of the agencies or the agencies that you'll hear presenting here today. You'll also find information, everything from different grant programs to special loan programs, or certain program payment or incentive things that may be up that's available to local communities and to the citizens within the community. That's one. But as the mayor said, this is like Cotton Plant Day. And I love Cotton Plant Day, and I hate I missed it this year. I just had my days of timing popped up on it. But if the board approves it, I want to start a thing. We're publishing our newsletter on the communities with the greatest turnout. The turnout of individuals who come out to get information and finding the need to be in the presence of resource people and resource organizations that have something to offer. And I want to say this, everyone you're going to hear from today, they have something to offer. They have something to offer to you. It may be where you are and what you are doing now, or what may be some of the possibilities of something or things that you could do. And I say possibilities. Everything from production agriculture to housing to business. And that's both on the financing from a loan perspective, financing from a grant perspective, and other things that we see as being possibilities that can only be the results of partnerships. I'm going to give reference to this because I know we have some other special guests here today that's from the State Department, Arkansas Economic Development Commission. I always call them ALCDC, Arkansas Economic Development. Please. And again, that's a major resource and our economic development commission does a lot of things. Amazing things from an economic development perspective, as it relates to community as a whole, both in job creation, and dealing with what fire safety, I think is another area, y'all find it, fire safety, financing sewer, water, and some conservation programs. Am I correct? See, I know a little bit about it. I see that now. So I just wanted to recognize them for a minute. Let me give some clarity on this as well. The question was asked to me. Sometimes people ask you a question and you have to stop for a minute before you give an answer.
Yeah.
Because you say, now if I get a wrong answer on this, then if I say no, then I don't know if that's a negative, and you may say, well, what am I here for? If you're not chosen bid. And then if I say, well, we are not, but I'm familiar with them, and we know everything they know, then if that's the wrong answer, they may say, well, if you've been anything like them, I know I don't need to be here, but I tell you what, I got something for you, right?
Okay.
So, question was asked, and I've had this question before, that if our organization is the same as the National Black Farmers Association, am I right with the name? Huh? Like, no, it's one called it's called what, Black Farmers?
Yeah.
National. Well, I'm talking about the one out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
But it's not. Everybody that's familiar with the one out of Tennessee, raise your hands. Okay, but I want you to know, we are not that organization. We are not that organization. And we are not affiliated with that organization. I've seen things on the media about it. I do know and understand that they saw a lot of different communication. And I do know, I've been told that people have sent them a lot of money.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, but again, we're not affiliated with that organization. Make sure I got some clarity on that. We're not affiliated with it, so y'all haven't sent us any money. Okay, I'll make that very clear. Any of that money was been sent. It didn't come to us. We're not based out of Tennessee, so I want to get some clarity on that on the front end. Now, but I will say this: there is nothing question-wise, I don't think that you can ask that we can't give you an answer to, and it will be the right answer. And if we don't have the right answer for it, based on how we work, now we work in partnership with USDA, all USDA agencies, and with banks on the private sector side as well, and other private sector nonprofit organizations and for-profit business enterprise. We've done that for some 44 years. That's sort of our history. Mr. Harrison Locke, who's from Cotton Plant, he is on the board. He was off the board for a while, and they saw fit to bring him back on the board. He's back on the board now. He was also a founding member for the organization. He was one of the first individuals that signed on to create Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation, which now is the holding company for asset holding company for the most part, and Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, which is our program service delivery organization. That's sort of the way we're structured. We have some other subsidiaries, entities that's owned by Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation. Like Arkansas Land owns Pinewood, and it owns Meadowbrook, and it owns Stonebrook in Wynn and in Forest City and in Helena, West Helena. These are communities, these are subdivision houses that we have built. They are rental properties. They are subsidiary entities, LLCs owned by Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation. So that's an asset holding company. And it also owns the Fargo site where our main office is located. We also have an office located in Forest City. So we're gonna proceed with the program. I just wanted to make sure that I got clarity, on that organization. So if there was anybody here mad at the, black, uh, mad at the Black Farmers Association, and may have been a little bit mixed up on it, and you were so upset because they had your money, and decide, okay, I'm gonna get them right now, I'm gonna throw some and knock them out. So I'm not the one. I am not the one. Now, chief, I want to make sure y'all know what I'm talking about. I'll make that clear, so they can't say no mistaken identity, mistaken or mistake. We're gonna proceed the program. Now, the thing that we're gonna talk about today, and all of you, I think we end up running out of programs that have the agenda set for. But one, we have Natural Resource Conservation Services who's here with us today, and they're going to talk about conservation program opportunities that's available and the type of financial assistance that they can provide to you. Now, they can provide that to you because there are opportunities now individuals can take advantage of that can allow you to use their resources. You know, if you want to be a farmer, you know, usually if you want to be a farmer, anybody that is a farmer, they have to have, well, they used to say 40 acres and anywhere to 200 or 300 acres. I used to farm also, I farmed for 20 years, 20 plus years. I grew up on a farm. But you don't have to have that. You can be a micro urban farmer. You can have a lot. You can have a lot, just one lot, just a vacant lot. Then you can have that lot converted to a farm. And there's a process for doing that in becoming a farm, and you're growing vegetables and things of that nature, for market, for sale, or home use, whichever. Then it allows you to access certain resources through Natural Resource Conservation Services. They're going to talk more about that, okay? The resource opportunity, but they're also going to they'll talk about some of the barriers, or we'll talk about barriers as part of the discussion and things that is required in dealing with that whole process. The other organization we have is Farm Service Agency. Now, who's heard of Farmers Home Administration? Farmers Home Administration. You would raise your hand. Okay, so all y'all know Farmers Home Administration doesn't exist anymore. Right. Okay, so Farmers Home Administration doesn't exist anymore, and that's why we say one USDA, because out of Farmers Home Administration, they now have Farm Service Agency and USDA Rural Development. So they restructured the overall Farmers Home Administration itself. The Farm Service, they're going to speak to you about their program services and what I call sometimes that stairway, what is the stairway process, becoming eligible, one as a farmer, and to become eligible access certain other financial assistance. When I say financial assistance, I'm saying financial assistance, this is money you don't pay back. Money, some call it grant program. I think, but they'll tell you what they call it now. NRCS called the financial assistance program if you become a urban or a small farmer. So people who are growing gardens and large gardens and stuff now, your garden can be a farm. So you have a process of where your garden can be declared a farm that will allow you to access these resources. And really, it enables you to really produce vegetable crops on that lot, a half an acre, a quarter of an acre, whichever, pretty much so year round. But FSA, while as a step process that allows you to access these other resources, it also is one that provides direct opportunities itself on resources themselves. So they provide direct, and they'll talk about that. The type of programs they have available for you for financing what I call those opportunities that you see fit to pursue. One, then they also have other resources, because they have two different sides. They have a program side and they have a financing side, okay? And what we call mitigating or reducing your risks, reducing the risk factor that is always involved whenever you're dealing with investment and dealing with becoming a business person. If you want to be a business person, and saying you want to pursue the farmer, if you want to be a business person with certain type of industry and manufacturing, I don't care what it is, from an entrepreneurial perspective or from a business perspective, if you choose to invest your money with the intent of making money, a profit, then getting back everything you put in and more, that's a risk in it. I don't care, I don't care what you say about it. It can be a store business, it can be a manufacturing business, it can be whatever. There's a risk factor that's involved for various reasons, based on the market itself, that you're going to be, pursuing or capturing a part of that market, whichever it is. So that's one, but that's farm service agencies. The other area is USDA rule of development. Who all heard of USDA rule of development? The USDA rule of development used to be a part of Farmers Home Administration also. Now, some people look at USDA rule of development simply as an area for housing. There's so much more. That is only, the surface, the top surface of what all they have to offer it and the ways that they have to offer those services. They can, and I always say at the meeting that USDA rule of development have so many ways of investing money for community economic development by way of lending, grant dollars. It could be for business. It could be for housing. It could be for infrastructure. Basically anything, they could build a city. They have the type of resources that would allow them to build a city if the people are there and have the foresight as to what they want a community to become. Understanding the opportunities and what those opportunities offer for them as a community. Understanding the need, if you understand the need, then as you identify and understand your needs, then to the extent that you are able to understand the resource availability to address those needs, you're in a much better position as a community, as a resident in the community, and to support your mayor and other leadership in your area. So rural development is going to talk about some of the things. The other thing I'm going to mention also, people, I say this for the purpose of people understanding what can be the negative if you're experiencing this type of situation, or if you know someone else that may experience it, or may have experienced it, or may be experiencing it right now. And it's air property. Now, air property itself is more frequently seen, or more prominent in African-American communities. Air property. Now, I'm like third generation as it relates to air property. Except my parents had the foresight to put in place a trust that would adhere to what their desires were for what they were passing on to the next generation as far as assets are concerned. Land, some of the policies on insurance and how that was to be converted to go over to the trust, and some things on annuities as well. And there's a process you go through and you set it up and you create that a wheel, just a simple wheel itself. A wheel, or you can have a wheel that converts to a trust. And I'm not going to get into all that, not all the details of that, but we will talk about the details of that on the 25th of this month at the Forest City Civic Center, along with Federal Home Loan Bank. And again, I'm not going to, that's a whole different discussion. But air property. Now, the USDA actually makes available resources or process and how they have, by way of the 2018 Farm Bill, that they have made available resources of dollars, money, that you can access to deal with an air property situation. That it may be that you got your sibling, You know, I'm dealing with certain cases right now, it's just one and they're in agreement with 7 more. You don't take but one, you know? How many disciples were there? Huh? Well, it was 12, but I'm saying, how, you're right, 12. Well, how many was it? How many did it take? How many did it take to get Jesus Christ crucified? One. Okay, so you know, one can do a lot of damage. That's my hope. I had some biblical scholars, and y'all got me on that too. You got me on that one. The other 2 answers, I say, how many was it? Say 12. No. Okay. Both of y'all were correct. 12 and 1, okay. So my point is this. In these situations, air property, we lose so much in our community because of air property. Because no one pays attention to it. One say, I ain't gonna do nothing about it, I ain't getting nothing out of it. I ain't gonna do nothing with it, I ain't gonna pay the taxes because John Doe, Susan, A.B., I see some heads going, you right. I ain't gonna pay the taxes because I'm not getting it may be 40 acres, 60 acres of land. I don't know what John doing with that money. Well, you know he gotta pay the taxes. If you ain't paying them, somebody gotta be paying them, otherwise it's been sold. So, you know, for whatever the reason is, you know, there sometimes become discord, disagreement with heirs as to how the property may be. So that one individual say, I'm tired of this. I want my money out of it. Yeah. And it used to be under the old law, you petition the courts and the property is automatically sold, but there's a new law now. If you petition the courts, the court decree, the judge's requirement is that you must first offer your interest to enter the other heirs at the appraised value of that property. That's the new law, okay? That's the new law. And I'll answer any questions regarding that if we can talk more in detail about it. But the point is that when you have land that sits idly by, it could be a lot with a house on it, whatever, and their property and nobody does anything about it, somebody either gonna buy it at a sale from the land commissioner's office because the taxes weren't paid, or it just sits there and is still at the land commissioner's office, and somebody eventually, if it doesn't go through the sale process, someone go in what I call speculators and see all this property that's in conplant, and they go into the land commissioner's office and buy it up. And they may not do nothing with it. They may decide, and you know, of course, the city, I know Mayor Brown wouldn't allow this, but I have seen certain cases where, and I'm not talking about just in Eastern Arkansas and some of the other urban areas, it may be that they decide, well, I'll tell you what, I done bought that over here, it's kind of in this 4 corner. So people who are contractors who's doing some work, I'm gonna charge them, let them go dump on it. And then you have them, but trash is dumped on it, and one thing after another, people throwing tires and stuff out on it and all that. But now, what happened is that actually, it declines the value of your community. It declines the value of your community in so many ways. If you have a house here, that means that instead of the value appreciating or going up, it can deal with the value of your home or property going down. My point is that we all have a vested responsibility in our community to address and deal with this issue. I mean, maybe you just need to want to go and buy it. That was a lady, she told me, I told her about it. She said, you know, you're absolutely right. I went and I bought 2 lots for $300-something. 2 lots. I'm not talking this in my hometown here. He said, and both the lots was right together. I thought it was just one big lot, but it was 2 lots. He said, and I was able to build my home there. He said, that's where my home is located now. You may buy 2 lots or 3 lots and become a micro-urban farm and have access then to the resources to build that as that opportunity for you in the future. And there are other ways, and we've worked with individuals on that and getting the financing as well. So I'm gonna stop at this point because my colleagues here gonna say he did the whole work session. You know he ought to sit down. But we're gonna have more discussion on this, and I'll talk will talk back through the process with them. And all the questions that you don't ask them, I will. All the questions I figure you should have asked them, I should be asking them, then I will ask them for you. My closing points. The application for discrimination. We'll come back and talk more about that too as well. An interview who want to have some discussions around that, and I'll come back and we'll go back to that on that process. And I know everybody heard about the checks that went out now. Who have not heard about the checks that went out? Well, that answers that question. That answers that question. I said, who didn't hear about it? Did nobody raise their hand? If I say who heard about it, see, I was gonna try to do a trick on you, like I caught myself in a trick with them two answers for in one, but you know, so I take everybody heard. Yes, sir.
I come just a few, I come everybody to you.
How come everybody get one? We gonna come back and talk about that too. You say, why everybody didn't get one? That's gonna take some time, but I will give you the answer to that. Again, it was an application process. That was an application process, but out of those 42 pages, I read that thing enough. I basically know the application by heart. The actual key points, what the requirements were, and what was the major contributing factors. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to know how come Mr. Burrell was charging $100 to be in some kind of club to get this.
See, but first of all, I make clear again, I'm not associated with that now. Make sure all the other dollars we gotta get clear. Make sure I got that. Make sure I'm crystal clear on that one. But I know some of them say we done send $100 in, and he asked for a contribution. I sent him $200 more, and they said a little more help, and they sent him some more. Now, crystal clear again. Then I'm gonna answer your question. One, they have no association with us. That's one. His name is Burrell. Reverend Tom Burrell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to let y'all know. Now, he also has a background in law too, so he understands law very well. But that $100, you have to read the fine print. You have to say, always read the fine print. If you don't understand it, don't sign. Don't understand it, don't send no information back. Okay. But it's only a membership application. They have went after him, had complaints on him. I mean, they went after him with investigation and everything else. He came back smelling like a rose. It's simply, but it is an application that can be deceiving based on the way that the questions are asked as relates to you being a member. I read that application too. So when you read it as a base of certain questions and how you answer those questions, it could be the equivalent of a survey in some way. That's one. But it asks those questions, certain information that may be required as it relates to either a lawsuit or as it relates to what was even as a part of the application for discrimination itself. It is so well structured. The gentleman, he's a very smart guy now. I'll take nothing away from him. Very, very smart. But it says membership. And then say answer these questions. So am I right? Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure it's clear. So you know I read it.
Yeah.
So okay, so but let me just say this. I understand. Now, and we're gonna come back and talk about that more on the end and get through all the stuff. But I'm gonna give you our phone number, and whenever people get something like that, give us a call. Just give us a call. Give us a call. And I can assure you, we will give you the right answer to it of what you're dealing with. And he's not the only one. As I was talking to a young lady, even just today, so she recently saw some things online. No, this is what's coming out now on this. It's just deceptive stuff. That there's no lawsuit, class action, anything else now, period. But I'll talk about the program, and that was a program, people, That was a USDA program on the application for discrimination. That was a USDA program that was outsourced to third party for administering. USDA, local USDA people had nothing to do with dealing with the whole process and procedures by which those applications were dealt with either by intake or decision making. And I'm not here to try to, see, sometimes USDA think I'm not their friend, but I'm really their friend. But I know a lot of people say, well, we didn't get this, and I know USDA, they ain't gonna treat you fair anyway. It wasn't USDA. So it was not USDA, it was a third party outsourced from the Department of Agriculture that had the responsibility of doing the work, helping with the applications, and dealing with the overall evaluation process of those who were approved. It was not USDA. So y'all can take that off of USDA. And hey, we didn't have to do with it. I'm taking off my bag too. We didn't have no contract to deal with it, although we did work to help people. Now, some of you, a lot of you all know, we were the first one to do public service announcements about it. Y'all heard it on radio, some of you may have, right? Or you saw it in our newsletter. Or you came to a meeting in Fargo. Who all came to a meeting in Fargo? Okay, so we were doing that for public information purposes and making sure people have the right information on the front end, even before they start taking applications. So I'll come back to that later on. If you got any other questions you want to have, I think I probably will have some point of the answer for you, what occurred, what is occurring right now as it relates to that issue and what is taking place regarding the whole application process. Coming back over to Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. King. Okay, I told you you're gonna be, getting a wealth of information, not only from Dr. King, but my panelists. On my right, I have Kevin Sheffer from Farm Service Agency. I know we have Matt McCurran, but he's not here due to hearing services. And Cheryl Massey, who we have as a coordinator, state outreach coordinator. She's standing in for farm loan side. And we have Kennard Williams at NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Services here. And we have Ms. Latasha Colley with Rural Development, and Flora Pruitt with Rural Development. And we have just Shalonda Williams here with Rural Development as well. And we just want to thank them. When I called, they answered, they said, I'll be there, and they are here. And let's give them a hand. So we're going to start out with the Natural Resource and Conservation Services. Our representative here, Kennard Williams. And he's going to speak on EQIP, conservation easement, and whatever else. And let me just say this, try to ask questions once they have finished, rather than just in the middle, stopping so we can go on and get through. And also would like to let you know that on my right here, through those doors there, you have the restroom, the men on the right there, and women, ladies straight through. And we do have, on behalf of Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, we have our refreshments, water and sodas, and snacks if you like. And feel free to get some. So we're going to go on with start with NRCS, Kennard Williams.
Good morning. My name is Kennard Williams. I'm the State Outreach Coordinator with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. You hear a lot of Everybody say NRCS, but it's National Natural Resource Conservation Service. I know Ms. Williams said we won't ask questions to the end, but I do have a couple questions I will ask the audience, so I'll go out a little bit. Show of hands, how many people know or heard of NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service? Okay, I see a few. All right, the reason I asked that question because I'll see how much depth I go into what the agency about, what we do, then I go into the programs. Won't hold you long. The agency, it started off as Soil Conservation Service, started back in the 30s, and the purpose was because of the Dust Bowl, and that was the topsoil blew across the United States, went to the Atlantic to deposit in the Atlantic. So what it is it's all about protecting our natural resources, which at that time was our soils. Now, a lot of folks may say soil, some folks may say dirt. Y'all know the difference between soil and dirt?
Yeah.
All right. Soil is a living organism. Dirt is what you got in your vacuum cleaner. That's how you do that. That dirt won't grow anything in that's a vacuum cleaner, but soil will. So that's really it's very important to protect it. So our agency was created, changed over in 95, 96, changed over to Natural Resource Conservation Service. That's to address all our natural resources, including water, air, plant, not just soil, not just focusing on one resource. All right, so up until this day, now focus on soil, then we started adding our natural resources. Within the 2018 Farm Bill, quite a few things changed, and it's actually, we have an initiative that started within the last couple of years. It's called the Small Farm Urban Initiative. And what that does is actually provide opportunities to do in your communities. And I did notice down the street, have a single hot tunnel. Is that a community hot tunnel or is it an individual hot tunnel? Right up the street. Individual. Okay, so those type of hot tunnels and those type of practices of what we do and what we can provide landowners and opportunities. And what it does is provide the lifespan of the crops. You can actually, when frost fall, to have it under cover, you can still protect it at the same time. Sort of growing long growing season. We actually provide cost share, and we call it cost share because when they call it a grant, those dollars do not have to be paid back. But you do have a small cost that would pay that you may have to pay at the same time. And those costs, you can do as a social disadvantage, limited resource farmer, producer, you can get additional cost share. It can go up to 90% of the cost of that project. So I'll give you an example. A lot of those high tunnels, they run 20,000. You may end up paying 2,000. USDA, said that we supposed to pay 18,000. But what we do look at the same time, you have what we've been dealing with the last couple of years. You have inflation at the same time. When you lock those contracts in, it's locked in at that price. So it will not change. So the longer you take to put it in, it may cost you more to actually cost to put it in install different prices. So it's good once you get those contracts to go ahead and implement them because you don't want to get caught with the inflation. So that's part of it. But let me go back to the start part of it. You will need a farm number and a track number to be able to participate in our programs. And that's, you also have to show land ownership. I know Dr. King talked about earlier about air products. So somebody in that, if it's air products, somebody have to have control to be able to do the business for the operation to sign up for the program. So that's one key component, and those practices and that process actually goes through the farm service agency. So we can talk about a little bit later. We do not have a farm acre restriction. Some folks say what size, so have to be a certain size, not for NRCS program. Because it may be small, like that high tunnel is small. I think our largest is 2880 square feet, which is 0.2 acres, so small, it's not even an acre size. So we do not do restrictions on that part of it. And that's under EQUIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program. And we also have a program called Conservation Stewardship Program. And what that does, it actually enhances what you already have on the ground that you've already applied for through EQUIP. And it just take it to another level, advancement. And they also increased the payment, the minimum payment this year from $1,500 to $4,000 for 5 years. So it went from the maximum contract would be $7,500, now it's $20,000, just minimum. A minimum contract, because a lot of the small acres will not be able to get up to that $1,500 or make it up to the cap. But they do have a $4,000 base now at this time. So we have multiple programs in Woodruff County. This is Woodruff County. So your office would actually be in Augusta. I know Clarendon will cover Monroe County. So each county has a different office that you go to. And your eligibility is very important that you go and get established. But there's opportunities out there now. The 2018 Farm Bill is still opportunity, there's still funding available. Starting coming up for 2025. Now, October 1 is our new fiscal year. It's about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we'll start 2025. So now is a great time to go into the local office, start getting your eligibility, start getting your farm number, track number if you do not have them. So you can be eligible for these programs that's coming up in 2025, which our 2025 started in 3 weeks. So be mindful of that. It's not at the end of the calendar year. Y'all, I'll be around till about 1 o'clock. I need to run to another meeting, but I'll leave my name, number, have business card. Y'all can always call me, cover the whole state. I'm more than willing to come out if y'all need some more depth information that you feel like your local office can't provide. So I can always give you the local office phone numbers as well. And that's it for me. That's just a conservation service. Are we holding questions to the end? Do y'all have questions? Any questions for me now? Yes, ma'am. I'll get your card. All right. All right. I'm gonna pass it on to Miss Cheryl, FSA. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, did you say we had to go to get our number and?
Phone number, track number. Are you in Woodruff County?
Yes.
All right. Augusta. Augusta is the local office for Woodruff County.
Okay.
Now, you can also call. There's a lot of things you can do over the email now. So if you don't want to drive to Augusta, they probably can send it to your email and have you to fill it out and scan it, put it back in and send it back. So that helps a lot instead of having to drive back and forth to where you were. But you can't go to any local office and they can also send it to the local, your county. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Good question.
Someone else? Is there any other questions for Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
I got something to say. When this black farm thing first come out, what made these applications so difficult for everybody to fill out? But some people got the money and some didn't. Because they don't fill out this application. Now tell me what's wrong, what about this? What don't we help each other? I won't call the name, but some people know how to fill them out. They fill them out correct and they got paid.
Yes, sir.
Now what is it? What, we got grants? We don't help anybody? Come on. My name is Henry Bronson. I'm on wait. I'm just starting when all this first came out. This money they get from black farms and all this stuff. I didn't know what was going on. I said, I don't know. You got this $5,000. For what?
Well,
This is money. Why you got this $5,000?
let me do this. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about that. You know, I want all our presenters to go first. But let me just say this very quickly in response to that. What I said on the front end, that was over $1 billion. Over $1 billion that was given out by way of contract to a third-party company. And that was a company. This has nothing to do with any other individuals, has nothing to do with USDA. That was another corporate entity that they contracted with to provide that service. That company was located in Little Rock, Arkansas, in the TCBY building on the 17th floor.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying the folk who were paid very, very well, very, very well to do that work. Now, why they didn't come to this community, Why they didn't go to other areas? I don't have the answer to that. You know, there's the 800 number you can call and ask them, but you know, that's one question I don't have an answer to. But I will say this, there were people who had that responsibility. The work we did, we didn't have the responsibility for doing it. We didn't have a contract. We just did it. Why do we do it? We did it because we have people, some who are in this room right now, who are members of our organization. And as a member, as a paid member, and it's not $100 either. It's only $25 a year. Now, we try to make sure we offer the service back that we say we will provide. Both marketing and public information that's in the interest of the community. And that's what we do. That's why we're here. That's in the interest of the community. So that was a statement made here a few minutes ago. Some of you heard it, some of you didn't. By Mr. Williams. He said $4,000. And he said financial assistance that you don't have to pay back. And then the process and how you put yourself in that position. He said $4,000 minimum, but it could be more. So the process of what you have to do, how you invest and where you put your money, what it does to make money from that point forward. Very crucial. Make sure you take notes on certain things, and certain words, and certain statements that are being made. Not a one-time something, but an ongoing process of what takes place. And know the questions to ask, so you can clearly understand it. Anybody that got charged $5,000, I don't know. I know ain't nobody paying me no $5,000. And I know there's nobody paying our staff $5,000. We didn't even get paid for the applications that we printed and gave people copies of to understand the 42 pages. We were the first ones to show you that it was 42 pages on a complicated application. It wasn't nobody else. It wasn't a company out of Little Rock. It wasn't Tom Rail. And we didn't tell you to give us no $100. We told you to come. That's what we did, okay? Now, all this other about who did what, when, and where, and anything about it in the crowd, no, we wasn't there to try to pull nobody down. We were here just like we're here today to try to lift you up. And that's all we tried to do in the process then. And many and some did benefit from the process by understanding. It was 42 pages. You're right. I don't even want to show you the FSA application to get a loan, man. I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's not 42 pages.
I'm joking. I'm only joking, guys. I still, you know, people, you know, I like it. No, I did not say it was a simple application. I did not say it was a simple application. And guess what? USDA didn't create the application either. So USDA didn't create the application. Nor did we create the application. We were the first to show you and tell you it was 42 pages. Starting from the first thing, first point, giving you ID and your social security number, page 1. In front of the application part, if anyone else had anything to do with completing this application, if you give their name, and you could also give your email address and your bank account money if that was going to be a direct deposit, which is my understanding they did not do that. Okay, page 1, page 42, latter part. A lot of things in between, specific requirements on a track number. If you had a track number as it relates to a farm that land that you farm, or you tried to farm or wanted to farm. Okay, if you were a member, are part of a farm organization. Now we had most folks. We had some folks who became members, but once they did that, you know, they would say, so they could put on the application truthfully. Now some didn't. Probably said they were a member of Arkansas Land Fund, they may not have been a member. I won't hold that against you because I know you're gonna pay your membership due October 25th of our annual meeting. I just like that, you know. But I'm just saying, look, just some of the base requirements, other than the Schedule F. You have a Schedule F document. Some cases they did have, some cases they didn't. But I'm not gonna go through all that now, because I have to be given a 42-page process of what the project was, okay? It was a matter of reading with understanding of that 42-page application. That were key factors, requirements, certain questions you answered, get on the computer and go to another section of that didn't apply to. Also, So, that's it. So 42 pages, yes. But all the 42 pages required to be filled out? No. It was not. In certain cases, you may only have to fill out 10 pages of it or less. On the information you have to require, that was required of basic information. But sir, we don't come back to that. We don't come back to that on that application. Because I really have to let the issue of people, deal with it. We have 100 questions to be asked on after the fact. And a lot of things happen in the process. As far as who paid what and how much they owe because they promised 10% of what they got. So, that's, and those are individual decisions.
Yes.
Okay.
Cheryl Massey.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Cheryl Massey. USDA, I'm actually representing today for FSA owners. And I'm going to touch, well, actually, I don't have to touch any of your property, so Dr. Pete took care of this. But I will say that USDA with the air property, you can't hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. With the air property, USDA is actually not financing it to individuals. We're actually financing you, the bank, whoever the lender is that you choose. And that's approved by USDA. That is who we finance, and then they will finance you all. So it's actually more like a re-lender. A re-lender thing, so that's what that is. And with the air property, your biggest thing with that is going to be making sure you have a farm number. Your farm number is gonna be key. That is how you're gonna be eligible for any of FSA's or actually USDA's benefits. So that's gonna be, well, I'm gonna stop because there's Kevin's part, so I'm gonna back up. But I'm gonna talk about a few loans. We do have micro loans. That's gonna be for more so the urban farmers, the smaller farmers. The max on that is 50,000. You don't have to get 50,000, but that's the max on it. You can also use that loan not just for operating. You can use it to purchase it. If you find something that's 50,000, you can use that as well. We do have the direct operating loan. That one is gonna be a little bit larger. Well, not a little bit, but it's gonna be quite a bit larger. It goes up to 400,000. And that's gonna be for your larger row crop farmers. You can also use that, like I said, for operating expenses, to pay land rent, to purchase seed, chemical, whatever you need to operate. And then we also have the direct farm ownership loans. Those go up to 600,000. Those are to purchase land or make land purchases of improvements and things like that. We now have urban ag, and like Mr. Williams was speaking on with the high tunnels and everything, that's popping up everywhere. That can be your garden, it can be your backyard, it can be your rooftop, anything that's gonna be grown, small, that's gonna fall in that category. Our office actually hasn't opened for that yet, but it's well on its way. But you can visit the Delano County office, called the state office, because it's in the process. Yep, that pretty much covers what you have needed. Are there any questions about any of the loans or? Yes, ma'am.
The last one, how much, up to that one,
Well, that's gonna be up to you. But that is, I'm thinking it's gonna be up to 50,000 because I believe that's gonna fall under the micro loans. So, yes, okay, so that's gonna be up to 50,000. Yes, sir. So for here, it's gonna be in Augusta. Yes, sir. I mean, you can go to any FSA office and we can help you with anything that's needed, but for this area, it's gonna be in Augusta. Okay, did you get that phone number? Or, no, okay.
You said, tried to last one that you can have in your backyard,
Urban ag,
urban ag.
yes, ma'am.
If you go ahead and write the phone number.
Yes, ma'am, for the Augusta office, the phone number is 870-347-2592.
Email, send that number in.
259,
2593?
3.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, it is 93. I can't even read my own writing. Sweet Jesus. Okay, the Augusta, Kevin wrote it. 870-347-2593. But anything, also you can visit farmers.gov, and it has all of our information on there, as well as USDA.gov. Are there any more questions?
I want to make one comment, and again, we're gonna come full circle back around and have some other discussion. I'll have this mic here. Our office located in Fargo. We also provide direct assistance with individuals in developing those applications. If the application for loan, we work with you on that. Our farm advisors, Mr. Tucker, who is here, Larry Lofton, who again, he's not here today because of illness. But that's one of the things we do. We put together farm business loan packages. We also work with individuals to sign up to make applications for the conservation program. To work with you in the process of signing up for the conservation program, what Mr. Williams talked about. So we actually do that. That's why I said we work in partnership with USDA wherever the office is located, to the extent that we can work with you, get the paperwork done, we can scan it, send it up to the office for them to do a pre-review of that information, and anything we need to do to complete the process of the application, then we'll work with you in doing that. The other thing we will do with you, both from the Forest City office as well as from our Fargo office, if there's a need of you want to speak with individuals directly and we have a conversation with them during the pre-process and startup, then we will set up a Zoom meeting, a conversation, so virtually. So they in that office, you in our office, we all there in the same location. Have any discussions or questions we may not answer with that loan officer as we begin the process for doing the application. Making sure that your needs are being met to access the resources. So we do that. We do the paperwork for it based on what the needs is and what you're trying to access. People listen very closely. Everything they've talked about from 1, 2, and 3 is going to be other things, has been resources, money, and how to access it. Some loan, listen closely, some was grant. And one point, we didn't talk about it, we asked a question about it afterward, on a conservation easement, he gave reference to. A conservation easement, I talked about air property, so some of you have interest in air property, okay? People, you can put your land into a conservation easement program, air property, everybody agreeing. And if it's irrigated land, you can get up to $3,800 an acre. For irrigated land, non-irrigated land is roughly $2,500 an acre. You can put it into the conservation easement program and still own your farm, still own the family farm, still own the land. All you have to worry about then is when you get the money, how to split the money up. Now, if you can agree on, you can't agree on dealing with the land, but you get that. But I will say that thing you should do. You should make sure you put something in an escrow or into an account, CD. If you put your farm into a conservation easement program for future tax, but you still got to pay taxes on it because you still own it. So you still own it. And they will work with you to develop a plan and how you can lease it out for hunting purposes. So I just want you to know that, but we'll have more discussion about that. I'll ask no questions after to make sure y'all got all the information on that. And that's why we call it a discussion, okay? But conservation easement, equipment was one on that. And there two types of conservation easement. They can be permanent easement and they can be 15 years. Or you can,
Let's see.
oh yeah, you got CRP, Conservation Reserve Program, Conservation Reserve Program, and then Conservation Easement Program. So you got the CRP program, you got the Conservation Easement Program, Conservation easement, either permanent easement, temporary easement, 15 years, then you have the Conservation Reserve Program, which is still with FSA on the program side, up to 15 years, still on the land. You know, you don't have to rent it out. In some cases, the payments are more than what the rent payments are. So I just want to mention that, and we can have more discussion about it, knowing what you have and the opportunities, what you can do more with what you have. That's
I'm sorry, let me make sure I say this. The capital access that I spoke about, they're all loans.
Yeah.
They're not grants, so I wanna make sure I.
Yeah. This guy talked about the money you don't have to pay back. This is what she talked about, money you have to pay back. And there are two time periods. There are two time periods on the money you have to pay back. She talked about operating loan, micro loan up to $50,000 if you're doing a garden and making the farm. If it's a micro loan and you have your operating expenses for gas and for seed and fertilizer and things of that nature, that's operating expenses. For labor, that's operating expenses. At the end of that time period, or at the end of if it's a 12-month, a year, you pay at the end of the year, then on that operating expense, you got to pay it back full dollar amount on your labor, on your seeds, on your fuel, things. But if it's for chattel or for equipment, you got 7 years. Okay, so I'm gonna say, because I was out looking at some side by sides, what they call, someone call a mule side by side. I just call them 4-wheel, and sure ain't no 4-wheel truck, a 4-wheel drive truck. Now, I drive a 4-wheel drive truck. But when I go out to the farm, we want to check the land, so we got rented out. I used to walk out across those fields. Guess what? I can't walk out across it, man. And you're walking out across 60 acres or 80 acres of land now. I used to look at it and just take off and go. Now I look at it and say, okay, gotta get to the other side. And try to get the truck across it. But anyway, but even, yeah.
Up to 40.
Right, and land ownership is up to 40 years. So if you qualify with eligible and you were gonna say, I'm gonna get a loan, and I'm sure I have control of this because I have the option to purchase it on 10 lots, then you could get up to $50,000 to buy up lots and get a farm number on, because you're going to be running your farming operation. And I'm gonna say this also, one key part that was involved in all this discrimination application, it was farm numbers. It was farm numbers. So you may want to try to get your farm number if you got some land, even if it's your house and sits on an acre, you may want to try to get your farm number. Okay, you never know what's going to come. Yes, sir. Excuse me, what now?
Well, Jackson County and Newport equal at the same.
Yes.
Yes, every county across the state is gonna work the same with the
Yes,
same
sir.
program.
Yes, sir. Every county, USDA has services in every county where Newport is located, you know, anywhere in the state of Arkansas. And same program and resources are that they are through Farm Service Agency, NRCS, and Rural Development. Okay.
Sir. I want to also I cover the whole state. So if you have issues or problems, let me know. And we'll make sure we cover that area, make sure. So if it's find something that we say is available and it's not available in that county, you let me know. All right, thank you.
He's gonna make a start.
I get it.
Okay, Kevin, I think.
I am Kevin Shepherd. I'm with the Farm Service Agency. I work out of the Mariana office of Lee County. Any county around here, like we're touching on right here, we have the same program as Lee County, as Woodruff County, as Monroe County, St. Francis, Jackson. We're not a county by county program. This comes down from the national office. They tell us what programs we run. The state office tells us what we can do. So every county should be running the same program and telling you the same thing about how the program runs. There should be no discrepancy in our handbook policy from one county to another. First thing I want to touch on is, harping on, you gotta have a farm number. To have a farm number, you're gonna come to my office, which FSA office, the program side. We're gonna need a deed with a legal description on it. Whether it be a lot in town or acres out in the county, we're gonna look at that legal description. We're gonna find you in our system. We have a mapping system of the whole state. We're gonna go in there and say, if you got 3 lots in town here, we're gonna draw it off on our mapping system and assign it a farm number and tract number. And we're gonna add whoever brings the paperwork in, we're gonna add the ownership onto that. That is how you're gonna establish a farm number. We're gonna need your name, social security number, address, phone, contact information, because we're gonna get you entered in the USDA system. Then we're the ones that control the paperwork, whether it be farm loan, NRCS side, everything as far as eligibility paperwork is gonna come through the FSA program office. We control it all, so you're gonna need to bring all that information into us. It's a very simple process. Like I said, we read your legal description, we draw it off, and you're gonna get a farm number, a map of your farm number. And that's where you're gonna run your programs. If it's like hoop houses do NRCS, we're gonna give you a farm number and a map, you're gonna carry it over to NRCS, and they're gonna start running that program from there. Because we've got you entered in the system, we've got you a farm number, there's the map they need to look at to see where it's at. I'm gonna hit up on the Conservation Reserve Program where he was talking about easement program through NRCS. Our program, the Conservation Reserve Program, we have a general and a continuous sign up. General, we announce it during the year, is gonna be like a 3-month program that you can come sign up for, like maybe May through July. It depends on how they announce the sign up. We have a continuous is year round. But what we're there for the CRP program is if you own farm ground that is marginal farm ground, a lot of it, what we're taking is ground's been over cleared, it's non-irrigated ground, it's not getting a good rent on it, you can't grow a good crop on it. We're gonna pay you to take it out of production, either plant grasses, plant trees, depending on what the Nature Conservancy, NRCS, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife gets involved in it too. They're gonna say, hey, this right here to benefit like wildlife in the area, let's do grasses over this. That was what was natural to this before it was cleared. Or let's plant trees on it because that's what's gonna benefit. Yes, ma'am. You still own the land. We do nothing. We do a 10-year contract or a 15-year contract. And with the contract, it's gonna pay based on the average rent prices that NAS sets for the county. So I can't tell you that I'm not gonna tell you right now that you're gonna get $120 an acre for Woodruff County. I do not know the Woodruff County loan rate on that right now. My county is $92. Up to $92 is what we'll pay you an acre. And that's per acre per year for 10 years or the 15 years, whichever program you choose to run it in. Like I said, you're gonna get within RCS, they're gonna come up with a viable program that's gonna be to benefit your ground, to benefit you in the long run as a landowner. Also getting back to the hoop houses and the urban farming. We also have, if you get into marketing vegetables, you're growing vegetables in here for a marketing, make money off of them. We also do a loan that's called a farm storage facility loan. And we can loan you money to buy refrigerator trucks to keep your vegetables fresh. So that's just another way that we can help you out on the farm side of this farm of vegetables and stuff like that. We also have a NAP program, which is an insurance program that for historically underserved, you're gonna get, it's a 50-55 basic cat policy. We're gonna cover against natural disasters. If you get a rain, flood out your crop, you lose your crop, we're gonna pay 50% of the cost and 55% of production. And what you established there. And that is a free insurance program on the basic level for the historically underserved limited resource farmers. Now, we do have it where you can buy it up to 100% coverage, but you have to pay out of pocket for the 100% coverage on it. The 50-55 is what we supply is covered just by being historically underserved or limited resource farmer. Any other thing that y'all think of?
Yes, sir. Can you repeat that one more time? What did you say that program is? How is that insurance program?
It's a NAP program. NAP is a non-insurable produce or product. And it's covered non-traditional crops like fruits and vegetables, pecan tree. If you got a pecan orchard, we can insure your pecan. So, I mean, there's many ways that we can help you out right there, but it's for non-traditional crops. We're not selling insurance on rice, soybeans, corn, cotton. That is not what my program's for our insurance program. It's strictly for crops that normally insurance will not cover. If you do grow crops, we have certification dates, because you'll be required to come into our office and say, hey, on this half of my acre, I planted peas or sweet corn, I planted tomatoes here, but over here, you have to tell us how much you planted of it. And depending on the crop, we have different deadlines to certify, but our main deadline to certify is by July 15th of every year when you plant. If you want the insurance program, it's dependent on the crop. Some of them you have to sign up for in the fall, but your main crops that you're gonna grow in the spring, it's gonna be end of February, it's gonna be our deadline on that. Yes, ma'am.
Air property.
Yes, ma'am.
But you still get that, phone,
Yes, ma'am.
individual air.
If you are an heir of the property, I can't just assign you a farm number. It's gonna be a farm number for the piece of property that the heirs have. Because you're gonna have there's only gonna be one legal description for the property that every heir has. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Any more questions?
What about that $3,900?
I couldn't.
Very, profit.
That's gonna go.
Yeah, I know, on that, you know what I'm saying, that's the conservation easement program. And of course, I know you're involved with some land and have some land in your family do also. Conservation easement, that's Mr. Williams here. I'm ready to discuss this again, but Mr. Williams, he operates over the whole state here. Although there's a local office in this area, so I would really advise you get his card, his phone number. But if you are an heir to farmland, then let your siblings know there are program opportunities, particularly if y'all trying to decide on what you're gonna do with the property, sell it or not sell it or something of that nature, that you can put that heir property into conservation easement. That may be clear. The minimum acreage, I think, under the traditional program is 40 acres. Now, the minimum acreage under, with RCPP, I think the minimum acreage on the RCPP is 20 acres, is 20 acres, okay? So RCPP is like a special program in dealing with the minority community, African American community, underserved population. So, but still the payment itself is the same on a per acre basis, if it's 20 acres, 40 acres, whichever, based on the eligibility of that farm, soil factors and other things come into play. So I say that because I see it every day. With FSA representative just said $90+ an acre in Lee County, if you put it into conservation reserve program, and then folks come in and say, okay, what's the deal with the land? Want to do some other thing, want to increase the rent. Look at your options, okay? If you're dealing with renting the land, do your homework first. People, do your homework and understand that land, the value of land is being a major asset. And I said, well, I just don't know, I didn't know, and I didn't benefit from the program, okay? But do your homework. If you're getting $40 an acre and your land is being rented out, and it qualifies for the conservation reserve program at $90+ an acre, it doesn't take Einstein to figure that out, okay? At least find out whether your land qualifies for the conservation reserve program. And so if you're negotiating with the operator, so okay, well now I'm gonna have to raise my rent to $60 an acre. I wanna know if you're open to that, but if you know you're qualifying for the conservation reserve program, say, well, okay, and so now $60 an acre is fair, but you know you can get $92 an acre. And you've already figured out and know before that contract comes to an end that you meet all the eligibility factors of that farm does. I mean, that's the way I operate with our land. And being administrative, I trust in the farmland. I raise the rent. Now, you may not be farming this, but I'm gonna raise the rent. You go somebody else. I'm gonna put it into a program, what to do, but I already know what I'm gonna do, I just wanna know what you're gonna do. That's the only answer we looking for here, the other answer, we already got. So,
Money's gonna come in.
so,
Money's coming in, it's just about.
that's right, about when and where it's coming from. So people, knowledge and understanding. Understanding what you have. Was that a song? You gotta know what, you have to understand what you got and how to use it, okay? So, you understand what you have from a land perspective and how to use it where it's most beneficial for you and your family as an asset or as a benefit for you. And that's what these folks are telling me here right now. So anything you like clarity on, I think we still have to stay, let's talk about it. Make sure there's an understanding so you can do follow-up. Okay.
I will hit on too, that CRP program, the Conservation Reserve Program talked about. The main qualification you have to have is the farm has to have been farmed and been in production. Six out of the years from 2012 to 2017. We're taking ground out of production. It can't just be ground that's been laid out there and not farmed. It would have to have been farmed.
Yeah, for 20 years. Yeah, if it's just been sitting out for 20 years, you need to find out if you got a farm number still. That's one thing. If you can still have a farm number, and activate it. You need to activate
The farm number should never go away. Once a piece of ground is assigned a farm number, we're gonna have it in our system as that farm number, whether or not you're doing anything with it or not.
Well, sometimes we've had situations where people reconstituted, that would be.
Change the farm, yeah, that changes the farm number from what you thought it was back.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a farm number, I know it's the same farm number. So, but in reconstituting, farms, there have been situations where they merge, and so that farm number may not gone away. But when they reconstitute a farm, then your farm becomes the number of that individual farm number, which may be on some land that he or she owns.
And that's where now, for new reconstitutions, you're gonna have to bring us deeds. We're gonna have to look at the deeds before we're gonna do any reconstitution.
But some.
That helps kind of keep that problem from happening.
Right, yeah, but some of them have that situation already. It's sort of, it's occurred. So just be aware of that, do your homework. Get online.
All right, thank you. Kevin, you.
Yes, ma'am. Unless there's any more questions,
We're gonna have something on the end.
Yeah, I got one more thing.
yes, ma'am.
In this air project that you talked about, sir, now everyone has to, we all, if you got more than one, everyone has to be, like you said, don't make it one.
That's where everybody has to be in agreement to sign the contract. Because you're gonna have to sign a contract with us and we're gonna say, for X amount of dollars, we're gonna pay you that for the next 10 years. If it's a 10-year contract, you get an annual payment every year.
Okay.
You're getting rent once a year from us. And everybody has to be in agreement to sign the contract for us to do that.
Well, let me just say this, you either have to. That can be very complicated, a process for everybody to sign, I know, to sign. Cut to the chase on it, get your legal administrator, well, you can buy it out too. But FSL do that for you too, they're the third party lending, you get the financing to buy them out, so do your homework on that too. But let me just say, the best way to deal with that, just say sometimes we have individuals that are really serving as the administrator or the responsible person to make sure that everything is taken care of regarding the farm and the land. They just don't have the legal title as the administrator for that estate or for the family. So you say, look, I have to do this stuff, but now we need to be able to do it legally, even signing a rent contract. If you've been signing a rent contract for years and you know it's 20 other folks involved or 10 other folks involved, technically, that's not a legal lease. And even to do program services based on compliance requirement with FSA and the rest of it. And the reason I know that, I know some that's been challenged by just one ad who said, well, I tell you what, y'all may have it leased out, but he ain't gonna have my part this year. Because I'm taking my 4 acres out and I'm gonna do something else with it. And I'm gonna have to get me a farm number to that and survey it off, and everybody's in agreement with it, because that's my share, that many acres of it. Just get a legal administrative authority document. You could have a lawyer to do it for you. and have all of them to sign that you are the legal representative for Estate John Doe and Susan Hughes, Estate. Then you can take that as, mine is one that's filed because we probated ours to the courts. So by way of the court decree itself, that I am the administrator for the heir property of the trust, the family trust. So that was a will that rolled over into a trust, okay? So, but you get a legal document that way, and you ain't gotta say everybody gotta sign this contract to put it into a conservation reserve program. That is the best way to do it because you may need to do other business for that. And the fact that we don't have that, we lose access to certain resources that's available to us. So we just need to get there. We just need to be family. Can we all get along?
Thank you, Doc. Next, we have on our program, rural development, and they will be talking about housing and other information that you may be interested in. So we're gonna have Laura Pruitt, gentlemen. Okay, Ms. Collins.
Hello, my name is Latasha Cawley. I am from USDA Rural Development, and I will be speaking on the housing part of USDA. The housing part, we have two programs that are available. Our first program is our 504, which is single family housing, repair and grant loans. And our second program is our 502 program, which is rural development home loans, direct and guaranteed programs. Our 504 programs are, what does this program do? It's also known as the 504 Home Repair Program. It provides loans to very low homeowners to repair, improve their properties. It's a grant for elderly. You have to be 62 or older, and the loans is a program that we have. You do not have an age requirement for that, and our grants are up to $10,000, and our home repair loans are up to $40,000. You have to fill out an application. It is kind of lengthy, but if you go through the application step by step, it will tell you what does not apply to you. You just simply put NA, and what does apply to you, you must answer it, because the application must be complete in order to be processed. To qualify for the grant program, you must be a homeowner and you must occupy the home. The home must have a deed in your name, because like we were speaking of airport properties, it cannot be aired out to sister, brother, cousin. It has to be in your name. And you, it's available to people that's not able to get credit elsewhere. A family income within the low to very low limit. We do have an income limit. I will give you a phone number where you can obtain an application as well as get the limits to see if you either eligible for the very low. And it is up to 8 in a family, in a household. And like I say, you have to be 62 or older to get the grant. Now, what terms of the loan or grant? The loan has to be repaid over 20 years. The loan interest rate is at 1%. A full service is required for the loan, not greater than $25,000. A grant is up to a lifetime of $10,000. Meaning, say you get a grant now, you get like $5,000, say for this year, and then you see that your home needs more improvement, say 2 or 3 years from now, and you get another $5,000. That means you have maxed out your loan. Your grant money of $10,000 for that lifetime. And a grant must be repaid if the property is sold within the 3 years of obtaining the grant money. Now, like I mentioned, we have the 502 program, which is a rural home loan direct program. And we have the grant, the guarantee program. Now, what does this program do? It's also known as a 502 direct loan program for low income and very low income applicants to buy decent, safe, and sanitary housing is eligible in a rural area to provide payment assistance to increase the application's repayment ability. Payment assistance is a type of subsidy that reduces the mortgage payment for a short term. The amount of assistance is determined and adjusted according to the family income. Who can apply for this program? A number of factors are considered when determining eligibility for single-family direct home loans. At minimum, applicants must have an adjustable income that is below the adjustable low income level. Like I just stated earlier, I will give a number. So if you like, you can call in to get an application and find out what is the adjusted income for very low and low. It's also according to the household size. Applicants must be without decent, safe, and sanitary housing, unable to obtain a loan from other resources or terms and conditions that say you don't meet the requirements with your credit information at a local bank or anything like that. That's where we can come and step in, and we do different things to help you to be able to apply for this loan. And how can the funds be used? The loan funds can be used to help low income people or households buy houses in rural areas. We only purchase in rural areas such as Cotton Plant, and we do have other basically rural areas through the state of Arkansas. We will be able to let you know if the house you're looking for is in a rural development, because we do have a large listing of the rural development areas that you can look for to purchase a home in. And how much you can borrow right now, our lending amount is 300 plus. So you can go out and look for a home. You have to fall within that area of the okay, and all our funds right now are exhausted. But like the gentleman stated, our new year starts in 3 weeks, which is October the 1st. But that does not mean you cannot put in an application. You can put in an application, and once our funding is back up and running, we go ahead and start processing and let you know exactly when and how this application can be processed. And a lot of things now, since we are centralized in rural development, say for instance, you do turn in your application to Forest City. Someone may call you from Harrison office. Please, when you see different numbers and you know you have your application out there, please, please, please answer. Because a lot of people do not answer. And what happens is they'll say, oh, I thought it was spam. But everything is on a time limit and a time basis. So you will leave a message. You may get a number, like I said, from Forest City. You may have put in your application in Jonesboro. Just answer. Because if you do not answer, we go on to the next. Okay? Yes, you may.
You said, now your credit's not good enough to get a loan from a bank or other institutions. Now, what did you say any program was called for people with low income?
Are you trying to purchase a home, or are you trying to do repairs? Or our program is called 502, the 502 program. Yes. My name is Latasha. Last name is Cauley, Cauley. And a good number to give us a call if you're interested in receiving an application. We can go ahead and mail the application to you. And everything within the application, we have a checklist. You follow that checklist to a T, you will not go wrong. But when you start skipping and moving around, that's when problems start. So just follow from step 1 to the end. And make sure everything is signed that's highlighted within that application. I'll give you the number whenever you're ready. 870-581-4390. I'll repeat it. 870-581-4390.
That's 300, what was it, 300, you can get up to three.
$300.
$300.
300,000, yes. It's 300,000. Cause nowadays you can't buy a house under that. All right, next we have Ms. Flora Pruitt. She will touch more bases on the CF programs that we have within the rural development.
Hi, I'm Flora Pruitt out of the Rural Development Office in Fort City. I am one of the loan specialists there. I work with community facilities, water and waste. We work with the guaranteed programs as well. On the community facility side, those are usually for our cities, towns, and counties, not for an individual themselves. And what that program is, it can provide assistance for things like healthcare, if it's dealing with hospital, medical clinics, mental health facilities, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, like the one that we have there in Fort City. We also do public safety, such as detention centers, 911 communications, fire and police departments. We purchase equipment for those departments. And this is on our loan side. You know, they may be eligible for some grant, but this is on our loan side. Like I say, the cities, towns, and counties are the ones that can apply. It has to be someone that has legal authority to be able to sign legal documents. Normally, that will be the mayor of that city. We covers 12 counties in the program that I do. And so for those cities that may need assistance, we also have a grant program that we provide. On the grant program, we have to look at that median household income as well as the population for the grant. Our grant max is only $50,000, but that city, town, and county has to come up with a match with those funds. So depending on what your median household income is and the population, you may qualify for grant assistance. It may be 15%, 35%, 75%. And we've done some assistance right here in Cotton Plant with the police department, like buying police cars before. And so right now, our funds has been exhausted, but we're still able to take applications. The only thing with that process now is that we have to look at your financials up front, because with the amount of funding that we have, they're kind of looking at, well, if you got any type of excess funds at the end of your budget year, they say, well, maybe you can go to a lending institution. And what our system has started doing was kicking those loans out, saying, well, they got this amount of money. They can go somewhere else and maybe get a loan for that. And so we have to look at their financials up front now. On our community water and waste side, this is also for our cities, towns, and counties. It has to be with a population less of 10,000 or less, and it has to be in an eligible area, just like our community facility grant side. And this program is to help for funding of clean and reliable drinking water systems, sanitary sewage disposal, sanitary solid waste disposal, storm water, drainage for households and businesses in eligible area. And then what it does is that for our drinking water to households, a lot of time we get calls from individual homeowners, whereas we can't assist that individual homeowner, but they can talk to their mayor or someone in their town if you don't have running water in your home, you may be looking to connect to city water, something like that, then that's the only route that you would be able to go. We couldn't assist you as an individual. We have our guarantee program. That's for a entity or a private lender can go to a bank and try to get that assistance. And rural development works along with that. That is done out of our state office in Little Rock. They deal with all of our guaranteed programs in doing that, helping them to apply for those funds. And again, they have to have legal authority, financial strength, and sufficient experience to operate a successful lending business. Okay. And on our REAP program, that's where the program provide financing and grant funding to agricultural producers, rural small businesses for renewable energy systems to make energy efficient improvements, like a store or something like that. They may need a freezer in their store. They may need energy efficient lightings in their facility. And this is done out of our Little Rock office as well. We have numbers to the individuals that works that program up there. And anybody that may need assistance for their business, if they have one of their facilities, then I'll be glad to give them that information.
Okay, ma'am, say that again, now what's the name of that program?
It's called IREAP. It's called Rural Energy for America, Renewable Energy Systems and Energy Efficiency for their businesses.
Okay, and what is your name, ma'am? Again?
Explorer Pruitt. Yeah, we also have other programs. Altogether, I believe I could say over 30+ programs under rural development on the community facility side and our grant side that can be administered out of our office as well as out of the state office there in Little Rock. And so basically what we do with our water and waste program, that city would go online, you know, they would have to have like an engineer to do what they call engineering report to see what the city need or what is required of them to try to apply for that assistance. There is substantial cost can be tied to that, but that's why they need the engineer to give us a cost breakdown of everything that, you know, we need to look at to see what type of assistance they can qualify for, whether they may be able to get some grant to go with it, and they may not. It all depends. Back, any questions?
What's your number?
It's 870. It will be the same as hers, 870. Okay.
Thank you.
Just ask for me.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Listen, can you just repeat that number again, please? You said they were the same number,
870 581 4390. And that's Ms. Flora Pruitt on the website and Latasha Cawley on the housing side.
Thank you. All right, I would just like to remind everyone that, you know, in your program, you have the evaluation forms. And if you would so kindly complete them and leave them with us. And also client intake. And let us know your interest. Hear what programs that interest you and that you can contact us at 870-734-1140 up to Arkansas Farm in Fargo, or 870-594-7000 and ask for Janie or Larry.
Can you say it again, please?
870-594-7000 for the Ford City office. Yes. Or Fargo, 870-734-1140.
Take a question.
Is there any questions from online?
Something pertaining to the discrimination. They was wondering if the third-party company will be able to reopen or reaccept the application for residents who were unaware of discrimination money.
That's,
One moment.
There's a question online and something I said I would come back to, and then I'm gonna do a wrap up and a quick summary from about 5 minutes of everything that's been said here today. Trust me, I can do it in 5 minutes, okay? In reference to the discrimination, let me say this and go through the process very quickly. One, will it be reopened? There's no indication at this point that it will be reopened. Two, does that mean that it will not be reopened? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. When they had Pickford versus Glick, that was a class action lawsuit. There is no connection between the Pickford versus Glickman class action versus the application for discrimination that was in effect, like a program you applied for that was by way of USDA. So it was passed by the legislature. It was under what they called, the number was 2007. That was one part of the act. The other part of the act was 2006. If you have air property or have land that have a lien on it, based on your parents operating it as a farm in the past, and there was still debt under the 2006, it allowed you to have that debt written off. If you've been getting notices that you were delinquent on that debt that's not been paid and may just be sitting there. If they were going to deal with adverse actions on you, accelerating a process for foreclosure. That allowed for that debt to either be forgiven, written off, or borrowed current. That's one. Under 2007 was the application in that same act, application for financial assistance for those who may have been discriminated against, particularly African American. It wasn't just African American either, but y'all saying African American, black farmers, but no black farmers lawsuit. But for applications for discrimination, minority population, including women in general, okay? That was not a lawsuit. It was a piece of it was legislation that was passed that allowed for individuals to make applications if they were able to show that they had been discriminated against or denied certain opportunity for access to resources. That's why we're doing this here now. So you understand and see the opportunities you have as far as access to resources are concerned, both NRCS, Farm Service Agency, and rural development. Are we doing a good enough job? Are they doing a good enough job? Well, I don't know, but y'all can please fill this out so y'all know. They want to know too. If we're doing a good enough job to make sure people know. So sometimes in certain cases where people fail to get the information, they fail to receive the right information after they had asked for certain services, was a part of that application for discrimination. I asked for a loan, but they didn't give me an application. I didn't give me an application. Some of the steps, okay? So I don't know if it'll be reopened again. I won't say that it won't be reopened again. They said that Pickford versus Glickman in the class action lawsuit, it was over with on phase 1. 9 months down the line, it opened back up with Pickford versus Pickford class action 2. So I'm not gonna be the one to give a no answer, because I like to always say you never know, and there are always possibilities. So the other thing, does that answer the question? That answer that question. Are there any other questions on that on Pickford? Ashley, let me finish it. I'm gonna close out. Y'all can go one-on-one. So quick point. Talked about our property. We're going to have a meeting in Forest City, September 25th, at the Civic Center,
Okay.
September 25th at the Civic Center in Forest City. We will talk more in detail about air property. We'll be talking about air property. How to resolve and come to some resolution when you're dealing with air property. Using Farm Service Agency in the application process of doing that, access to finance, to buy other airs out. But how do you resolve an air property situation? And there are a lot of steps that you can go through to do that and still hang on to your land or to your homestead, whichever. That cultural heritage that you have. That's one. Forest City, Arkansas, 10 o'clock.
9:30.
Okay, I'm sorry, 9:30. Registration begins at 9:30 in Forest City. And that's at the Forest City Civic Center. So from 9:30 to 10 registration, 10 to 11 will be, 10 to 11 o'clock will be air property. From 11 until 12 is lunch and learn. Lunch and learn from 11 to 12.
11.
I'm sorry, from 11 o'clock to 1 will be lunch and learn. The lunch and learn, and I'm really hoping that USDA people will be there. The lunch and learn is what we will be dealing with Federal Home Loan Bank. That big secret is out there with Federal Home Loan Bank and the bankers as a major resource in grant dollars, in equity dollar financing, and how that operates or can operate more in our local areas, and how we can do greater partnership with USDA, rural development on housing, first-time home buyers program, affordable housing, grant subsidy program, but it goes to the bank. Just like Ms. Master gave reference to third party, USDA doesn't make the loan itself. If you're talking about getting a loan for air property, they don't make the loan, but a third party. Banks operate, Federal Home Loan Bank operates the same way, and how grant dollars and other community assistance dollars go through the banks, both as grants and as loans. So they serve that third party Federal Home Loan Bank. So from 11 to 1, lunch and learn. Everything is free on this for this particular meeting itself. But the major point, what we're going to be covering is going to be our property from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And from 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock will be the lunch and learn, and will be the bankers, Federal Home Loan Bank out of Dallas, the district office. And I do work with Federal Home Loan Bank, not for them now. I just serve in a representative capacity. So if anything, y'all end up not being in agreement with, I just want to make sure it's clear, you know. Quick summary.
If they are going to attend,
Oh, yes.
we want an RSVP.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to attend, if you're coming to that meeting on the 25th, you must pre-register. And when I say, I mean, you literally must pre-register. One, seating will be set up accordingly only on those who pre-register for the meeting. You should call, what's the number, Ms. Danny Williams?
870-594-7000.
And the
That's
name
it.
is again, Ms. Who?
Jamie Williams.
Awesome.
Can I ask a question?
Say that number again, please.
870-594-7000. Ford City, Civic Center.
Yeah, that's our Forest City office.
Jeff, call and let me, and give me your name and let me know that you are attending and how many. Because we are serving, we have a cater service that coming in, and so we would need a count.
We must have a count. We will set up seating accordingly, and we'll have meals prepared accordingly based on the people who are gonna actually be there. And again, we definitely have strong participation by all of these other money folks, USDA, FSA, so they'll understand how these banks do more stuff too, and how we can do. Oh, yeah. All right, so, yeah, I always say it this way, this meeting is about the private sector bankers. So we got the government bankers, the financing folks, and this is the, private sector bankers and where you put your money in financing folks, so. Really, hopefully we have a good perspective about that.
Someone had a question.
Somebody had a question? Yes, sir.
That young man.
September 25th.
Let me get this question. He started to ask the question earlier. Yes, sir.
Okay, the young man that was talking about the NAP program, I want to get his name again.
Kevin.
Kevin,
Okay.
Kevin,
Kevin, sir. What kind of?
I'm a lead out of Marion.
But now, the office for, this area is out of Augusta.
Yes, that will be, CD and Augusta, will be mine.
Okay, was that another question?
What was the day of your first city meeting?
That Monday, Tuesday, that's last.
The people, I want to make sure I get these proposals right now.
What was the date of your first city meeting?
The first city meeting will be October,
September.
September the 25th. September the 25th at the Forest City Civic Center. Now, y'all, the reason I'm getting these 25th crossed up in October, our annual conference is October 25th.
Yes, it is.
That will be at the Brinkley Civic Center. So you can see how it's got me right now. Okay, one quick wrap up on the first one you heard from Mr. Williams, and he's gonna have to go. That was with NRCS. I hope y'all have his number. If not, get his card. He's about to leave. That was on the Conservation Easement Program, the EQIP program, and both of those programs are programs that you get financial assistance on money you don't have to pay back. Putting it into the easement or getting the EQIP for assistance on other areas. Okay, so Mr. Williams has to leave with his card. Give his card right here, Mr. Williams. And he works all over the state of Arkansas. The next presenter you heard from was Farm Service Agency. Farm Service Agency has the NAP program for crop insurance. They also have the Conservation Reserve Program, which is when you put your land in the Conservation Reserve Program, you get paid for it. They also have the loan program. $40,000 if you're going to get a farm number and have a micro small farm. Up to $50,000. $50,000 in a mini loan. A mini loan, a small loan, up to $50,000 for operating expenses for equipment. It may be a situation you start a small micro farm using a lot or two lots, and you need $10,000 in operating expenses, and you need another $10,000 or $20,000 for your equipment, a small type tractor, tillers and stuff like that to operate with. That's Farm Service Agency, and up to $50,000 to buy land or farm. Then we have rural development is on housing. Rural development has both the housing grant program, they have the loan program, they have the 502, they have the 504, they have the 515. The 515, there is if you want to put multifamily housing in here, you can get a feasibility study for that under the 515 program, and that operates from the national office side. That's from the national office. We have done 515. We have a 515 we did in Palestine, Arkansas. Palestine, Arkansas has a population of 300 plus. And we built apartment units right on the main highway, right down from the high school. So that's on the 515 program. They also have the enterprise grant program for businesses. They have the enterprise grant program. They also have the loan program for businesses. We're talking about a business. The grant program normally goes to the business enterprise grant goes to either a nonprofit organization or a municipality. If you're dealing with new business startup, they must be in the business, I think, 3 years. At least 3 years in business. If you're doing a business expansion, creating new jobs, that's a grant program. The city could apply, build a building, renovate a building for that particular business enterprise system that will be there. and with an understanding the business is gonna move in after the construction of that building, as well as put equipment in that building. Shawna, Contract has gotten those type of resources before. The REAP energy program she talked about, 502 they talked about, 504 they talked about. Now I know for a fact, people, I know this for a fact, because again, I've been around a while. And I know that back in the 70s, latter part of the 60s, that when they put the sewer system in here in Cotton Plant, that they built a sewer system that had the capacity to service roughly about a 4,000 population in the city. So you can't tell me Cotton Plant's not having any challenge. Okay, you're gonna have some challenges because you have a system with the capacity to serve 4,000 or 3,000 plus people and have a population of 5,000 plus people. Now that means that the cost of maintaining a system designed to service 4,000, and your cost of maintenance is the same or more, but you only got 500 plus that's paying water sewer bills. You can't tell me the man don't have no challenge. You're gonna have a challenge. So when they talked about the grant program and things like that, and I'm sure she's dealing with that or looking at that, but you have to deal with an engineer on a basis that, on a contingency basis, that they'll work with and hopefully get some money from RD to help them with this sewer system over here. So she mentioned that. Now y'all heard her say they got some grant money too for sewer system. Now, man, don't we need some help on that? We need, if we qualify.
If they meet the requirements.
Yeah, if you meet the requirements. If they meet the requirements. Well, now, first of all, part of the requirement should be this. Now, just tell the state director I suggested this. Part of the requirement should be is that we finance the system for 3,000 to 4,000 people. And you got 500 plus the population now. So this is what they call an urgency need. I don't care if the income is above, it's an urgency need as a result of past. So, the thing about our conference is the inheritance, the legacy of disparity. The legacy of the inheritance of disparity. Tell the state director that. The legacy of the inheritance of disparity. This population and this mayor has inherited this from the previous out-migrated population and previous mayors on a system that it can't afford. And there has to be a process, there should be a process to rectify that with finances. So that is a desperate need that really should hopefully will get addressed to some, not just based on economic status within the area. That they didn't create themselves, they inherited this. So, now that's on USDA rule of development. If there are any other questions, I'll respond to them. Otherwise, we're gonna close it out. I'm gonna have Ms. Williams close out with, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would also go with our loans, like the micro loan, $50,000. That's not just for vegetable farm. We can do that for cattle too.
Oh, yeah.
Cows, fencing, we can help out with that on those micro loans too.
That's right.
I did not bring that up, and I apologize for that. It is for cattle also. We don't just deal with growing up.
Okay, this is what I said, on that micro loan up to $50,000, and you're right. It is not just the vegetable producers. If you're want to be a small rancher raising cows, and if you want to farm 20 acres versus a half an acre or a lot that you get the farm them on, you still qualify for that micro loan up to $50,000. So it might be the small tract and things of that nature, one of the operating expenses on that 20 acres or on that particular farming operation. It may be 20 acres, 40 acres on a livestock operation. And you need also conservation, like cross fencing and things of that nature, that you can get that through NRCS2 under that EQIP program. So the EQIP program is not just for hoop houses. You can get equipped to put in an automatic watering system for your livestock. If you got 20 acres or 40 acres, you're gonna raise livestock on, raise cattle on, you can put in cross fencing, automatic watering systems, as well as some additional, expenses that can be covered on that. So I want to mention, he's right, $50,000. You can also get a conservation loan, with farm service
I
agency.
just want to make sure they knew the cattle was covered in all this. This is not just strictly
Right.
farm.
That's true. Cattle is definitely covered in it. So if there are no other questions, I'm turning over to Ms. Williams right now, and people, we really appreciate it. Mayor Brown, thank you very much for your hospitality for hosting us here today. Please fill out your evaluation of this form for us. And get it in.
And leave it on the table or give it to the young lady here, Ashley Crockett. Thank you all. All right, you're dismissed. And I hope you have learned something and reach out to us if we can be any assistance. Please contact us. Have a safe trip home. I have anything more. Also,